John from Charlotte, North Carolina, he hit us. He said, hey, I've been loving the game breakdowns. But do you think this is the year where we have some volcanic Saturdays? And if so, which weeks are you looking at? John, we always have the volcanic Saturday, except for, was it last year or 2 years ago? It was weird we didn't have one. But we do have volcanic Saturdays most years. Now, I was talking to producer Jesse earlier. He always gives me his best metaphors for the show. Sometimes I steal them and use them, at which point they're mine. Other times I say that wasn't good enough, and I dismiss it. And Jesse had one that wasn't great today. And I fully believe in calling out his flaws and not acknowledging his strengths. So one of his flawed metaphors today was, volcanoes, the thing about them is they never give any sign they're about to erupt. And that's the way a volcanic Saturday is. It just comes out of nowhere. Well, that is the way a wild Saturday is. But I mean, we've all seen the documentary that is Dante's Peak. Not a movie, kids. It's a documentary as far as I'm concerned. And there were signs. Pierce Brosnan told those folks it was coming. He just didn't want to listen. You got the folks boiling to death in the hot spring over here. You got the town's water supply going to crap. Yeah, they saw it coming. But you don't see Volcanic Saturday coming every so often. And it happens in college football. So I could go week one on this. I'm going to skip past week one. But just know, week one's going to be crazy. Because hats off, I want to give a clap to a lot of these athletic directors out there who scheduled big games in week one on campi, plural of campus, instead of, for the most part, neutral site games. LSU plays Clemson at Clemson. I'm working on the pronunciation, by the way. Clemson. I'm working on it. Not there yet. Not claiming to be, but I'm working on it. Auburn plays in Baylor. Oh, let me ask you something. How many of those kids know about Waco, Texas? And for football-related reasons, how many of those kids know about Waco, Texas? I love watching folks go to unfamiliar places. The Auburn helmet in McLean Stadium, for some reason I just envision that as an 11 a.m. kickoff. I don't know that. I just envision it there. I went to a Baylor game that kicked off at 11 a.m. They had a hash brown bar in the press box. I'm ready to call it one of the top 5 best days of my life. So that's going to be awesome. We got Bama at Florida State. I was in Doak Campbell Stadium yesterday. Here's some inside information. I was in there yesterday, a little over 24 hours ago. I saw the enhancements. I saw the construction taking place. I realized in the moment, wait, the first time that this place, this new version of Doak Campbell Stadium is going to be unveiled is Alabama. And yeah, Alabama goes in there week one. Whomst amongst us knows what we'll get from either team, but at least we'll get a very, very modernized Doak Campbell Stadium. We got Texas at Ohio State in week one, of course. We got Notre Dame going to Miami in week one. This is not even a week I'm talking about. I'm just saying, yeah, there's some big games. None of these are conference games, though. So I prefer for the Volcanic Saturdays to have a lot of conference flavor. So let's start with week 5. Hey, quick timeout. Check and see if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, make sure you do. It's free. It doesn't obligate you or sign you up for anything. It just helps us keep the channel free. All right, back to the show. Week 5, if you're listening on podcast, you're just going to have to follow with me here because I'm not going to read every game. But for example, we got LSU, Ole Miss, and Alabama, Georgia. Think about those games last year. Ole Miss goes to LSU. I don't think they trailed a single second of the game and they lost. Georgia goes to Bama. They get down big, they come all the way from behind, take the lead, and then they lose. Both of those rematches happen on the same day. It's in week 5. You've also got, here's my sheet here. Oregon's at Penn State that day. So that's another one. I want you to think about the Big Ten championship picture. The winner of that game, I am very confident, will be in Indianapolis because they've got wiggle room at that point. They don't really play a ton of other rosters that can compare to theirs. When in the world's Oregon going to have a tougher road date in 2025 than at Penn State? And remember, that's early-ish in the season. It's week 5. Penn State's got, I think, a bye before that. I think it's Oregon's 4th or 5th game in a row. I don't know what our friends at Fox are going to do with the kickoff time, but I'm just saying if they big noon it, then that is on a 9 a.m. body clock kickoff for Oregon. So what I'm telling Dan Lanning is why even show up for that game, you know? So week 5's a good one. What about week 7? Week 7, I'm ready to say is my early candidate for best week of the year. We have got South Carolina LSU. We were at that game last year. Shane Beamer would not admit it on the show, but he knows they got robbed in that game. He knows it. Trust me, he knows it. But he answered it diplomatically in our Pate State Speaker Series Visit with Him, which you can find on the channel right now. The Speaker Series doing big numbers, and we appreciate it. LSU at this point, though, will have already faced Clemson, Florida, and Ole Miss. So 2 of those are conference games, of course. So this is the third high leverage conference game that LSU's played already by this point, and it's halfway through the season. Still got Bama to go. So we couldn't find out. We will have already found out a lot about LSU. This is Oklahoma-Texas Day. This is Florida at A&M. Just kind of it's a non-traditional. It's not a rivalry. It's a big day mainly in the SEC. But think about the ACC and the Big Ten in Week 7. Okay, so you got Iowa at Wisconsin. We're trying to figure out what the second layer of the Big Ten looks like this year. That game goes a long way and maybe someone emerging. I'm pointing the wrong way. There it is right there. Indiana, a lot of you got mad/aggravated/frustrated last year. Not that Indiana was winning, but you didn't think their schedule tested them enough. Well, I got great news for you if you feel that way. You won't feel that way this year. Look, they go to Oregon. So there you go. If they go undefeated, or they go 11-1 this year, they will have earned it. I would say they earned it last year, but you know what I mean. NC State at Notre Dame is not a conference game, but I would say the same thing. You're trying to identify Michigan USC's this day. Ohio State Illinois is this day. If there is a surefire dark horse in either the Big Ten or the ACC, it probably comes from this grouping of teams. I also think Clemson plays Boston College this day. So if BC or NC State are going to emerge as a dark horse, it's probably because they pulled an upset on this day. If USC is going to be in the mix this year, it's probably because they won games like, the one they have on this Saturday, which is Michigan, coming to the Coliseum. Week 8, the very next week, is also way up there. How about a Friday night? Louisville at Miami. Now that, to me, brings back memories of last year when Virginia Tech went in there on a Friday night. And then you had the Hail Mary that wasn't, and then Miami holds on for a win. That was a Friday night game, too. So Louisville goes in there, Miami home game on a Friday night. This is third Saturday in October, so you got Tennessee, Bama. You got Ole Miss at Georgia. Ole Miss drugged Georgia last year. Now you get the return trip to Athens. This is USC going to Notre Dame on this Saturday, but I'll tell you what else happens here. Ohio State at Wisconsin, Penn State at Iowa. Those are 2 really big-time contenders going on the road in the Big Ten. SMU is at Clemson. ACC championship game rematch on this day. Ironically, the one I'm kind of low-key most excited about is I think the early candidate for Big 12 game of the year, and that's Texas Tech at Arizona State. All those games happen in Week 8. I don't know what our tour is going to be named this fall, so I certainly don't know where we're going to be in Week 8. But, oh, wow. There's no shortage of quality games there to choose from. And might I add Week 12? This is great. I got helmet grid schedules in front of me right now. Road games, late season road games for Oklahoma and Texas. Same day, OU goes to Bama, Texas goes to Georgia. I think Florida at Ole Miss has sneaky SEC championship game ramifications written all over it. It did last year. It had playoff ramifications for one team. It did last year. Let's see, Clemson's at Louisville on a Friday, so that's a Friday game as well. So Louisville is one of my favorite dark horses every year. They're in a weird spot this year. 2 of their biggest games, probably their 2 biggest games, are on Fridays. So you got Miami on the road, you got Clemson at home, and so for better or for worse, you'll get a really good look at Louisville this year. I'm trying to think. West Virginia at Arizona State's an interesting game that late in the year too, but those are some of the ones I came up with. It's not an exhaustive list, but if we're going to have a true volcanic Saturday, I would imagine it comes from one of those weeks. But see, that's the thing about volcanic Saturday. Unlike in nature, sometimes volcanic Saturday really does come out of nowhere.